Welcome back. Welcome back. Once again, got another exclusive interview with local Dallas talents. I'm your host, Sully. Here today, we're talking to DFW comedian George Red Speaks. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I had the opportunity to see some of his awesome stuff that had been on the Addison Improv YouTube channel, and I was like, this dude's a treat. I see him popping up every once in a while on Facebook chats and other funny memes. I need to know his story because there's a story right there. I just know it. And fortunately enough, you're one of many comedians who I've noticed who have been just kind of just touring a bit, especially in the Houston and San Antonio areas. Another cool one that was doing that recently. Raphael Senguli, is that ring a bell?
Sengili. Raphael Sengili.
Sengili,
yes. Yeah, good guy. Me and him, we were on tour with Alex Raymundo. Alex Raymundo is partners and also brother-in-laws with Ron White. So we were on the bus together for about 5 months. It was great.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Alex Raymundo, you might have seen on one of the Blue Collar skits, as well as Legally Brown and
Latin Kings of Comedy.
Kings of Comedy, yeah, the Latin Kings of Comedy, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Hispanic.
Hispanic, yeah. Well, funny guy, good guy, very generous with information on the business. Around,
not spoiled, not reserved, and you always like that because when you get inspired by any celeb, you always hate it when you just hear horror stories about and then they refuse to even acknowledge my existence. And you're like, whoa. Hey.
Yeah. Well, Alex gave me a huge opportunity. I had just got out of prison and I had started comedy again, and Alex just picked me up, and then boom, it was supposed to be a 1 month tour, and it turned out to be 5 months in a row.
Yeah, it was a temporary thing, and it became. Is it still one of your current day jobs, or are you not as active currently in it?
Well, I do stand-up comedy full time.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Yeah, neat. So tonight, if anyone's in Dallas, I'll be in Deep Ellum at Will Call tonight.
I feel like an asshole. I should have noticed.
Yeah, so I'm performing 6 nights a week.
Okay, wow. Man, I'm getting it.
Hey, man, when you have a dream, when you have a vision, you got to go after it. This is one thing I learned when I was a kid was I remember my dad told me this one time. I used to play baseball when I was a kid, and I was never good at any sport, to tell you the truth. And then, I'm always either getting hit by the ball or just getting struck out. You know what I'm saying? And my dad told me, he goes, son, you never swing. You're never going to hit the ball. And I was like, well, I don't want to swing and strike out. He goes, you're already striking out. You got to swing. Right?
Right.
I remember I was on the A's. I was 9, 10 years old, and I took my first swing and I hit a home run, man. And that's when I knew in life, you got to take your swings, man. You got to take the risks.
Got to take a chance, but
you got to take the chances, man.
It's not easy though. If you just constantly are, having to explode in your face, then after a while it's like, well, what the fuck? What do I do next?
You just keep swinging. That's the whole point. You just keep swinging. Life is tough for all of us, and we don't always reach our goals or our visions that we want. But if you keep swinging and you start being more strategic with your approach, you learn through your mistakes, and that's what makes you successful.
For sure. So did you have any favorite board games like Jenga,
Monopoly?
No, Monopoly, isn't it?
Monopoly.
That game is pretty much not only how to just like conquer the world, but build anything. A fashion industry, a criminal enterprise, a lawn mowing company. It is everything in a nutshell.
I remember Louis C.K. has a bit where he talks about him and his daughters, right? He's like, yeah, we'll play different games and whatever. And then he's like, and then they'll play Sugarland, and he'll be with them or whatever. And please, I don't want to mess up his bit, but it says something like this. I forgot how it goes, but then he goes, "But when I play my little daughter, she's only 8 years old. I play her at Monopoly." He's like, now, hun, I'm gonna take everything you worked for, and I'm gonna take all your money, and I'm gonna take all your property, and all the hotels are mine now. She's like, "Why?"
I think I have heard part of
Because
that.
you're a loser. That's why you're a loser. So like my dad was like that with me, man. My dad used to crush
Man.
everybody at Monopoly.
Around the late 70s, early 80s, talking.
Early 90s.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
What did your parents do?
My dad's a preacher. He's still a preacher. He's an evangelist. He travels all over the world.
Oh, awesome.
And my mom, she runs an apartment complex. And my sister, she's also an evangelist and a preacher too. And
so you got it all figured out. You got a family of hard knocks and tough love. Don't be late on the rent, and always pray to God.
Well, let's just say they kicked me out real early, so that's how I found comedy.
Oh man,
Yeah.
do you still
No,
talk
we're
to
good
them?
now.
Okay.
We're good now. But religious people, they're all fucking crazy. They're going to hell. I'm sorry to your viewers, the ones that are
Nah,
religious.
dude, we're a progressive podcast, and I've seen your videos. You're awesome at just commenting on some social distrust and just you got to just let it out. I get even more annoyed when people say, "Oh, keep it bottled in." I'm like, no, fucking bullshit. It's going to explode one way or the other, so you might as well let it out instead of let it build up and come out at an even more inappropriate moment.
Yeah, no, I have a good relationship with my family. In the beginning, because of religion, of course, that kind of put some strains on it. But the thing is that my dad says something real cool. He always says, he goes, you live and you learn, and then you learn to live. He goes, son, he goes, I apologize for the way I was before. I was just really religious, right?
Right.
But he goes, you live and you learn, and then you learn how to live. He goes, and right now it's about building relationships. And I think we all go through that, you know what I'm saying? Especially in our business, especially with our families. We're always trying to control things, but then when we find out we can't control it, and you kind of just let go and you accept people for who they are, your relationships are always more stronger.
I love it. And
am I getting too deep, dog?
We try to get deep, but that's great. Yeah. Have you? So I know a few different DJs and just other entertainers. Have you thought of auditioning for local radio gigs?
I used to be on radio. I used to be on K104.
Oh wow! What number is that?
K104, 104.5.
104.5. Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, no, I started there with my brother G Spook. G Spook, he just passed away a couple years ago.
Oh, damn! My condolences.
And then he was also on 97.9 The Beat. And then, but I had started at KKDA, which is K104, KRMB.
What year was that?
Oh man, this must have been 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Oh,
and
shit.
then I went to television. I went to Azteca America. Then when MTV came in, they hired me as a producer, A&E, and as a video VJ, which is a personality.
And so then I left 07 to 09-ish.
Yeah, and then I left them and I went with Fox. And then I was at Fox and I started my own TV show. It was called Infamous Rhythm TV. And it was me, G Spook, Lil Brownie, Heidi, and Joanna. So
just local talk radio?
No, that was a TV show. A TV show. And then that's when I got in comedy.
So it was on local Fox affiliates?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it should have Did you ever monitor your IMDb? I could never find you on there.
No, actually, I never really made one of those files. Never got into it. But I've been on like Queen in the South. I've been on different movies and
Oh
stuff like
wow,
that.
so
But
was I. Small world.
oh, for real? Cool.
Yeah, you get
And
to do some season 2 or free, like.
I was season 3. I used to play Pote's double.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I was just double for about 8-9 months.
get on it, my dude. You might be a stand-in on like good stuff in
No,
between.
yeah, no, it was cool. We had a lot of fun, and he was a good guy. And then I got to, meet everyone, and I was part of the first team, so that was always fun. Um, but then, that's what that is. Comedy is a whole different deal, though. Comedy is a whole different type of monster. So much more rewarding, I think. There's nothing like getting on stage and making people laugh and just
Right, it's
like
instantaneous.
well, when you feel that like you have some type of control over the crowd, it's like you're having a conversation, right? But
Right,
when you're guiding it and you feel like they're with you, like they're really, really, really with you, best feeling in the world. I wouldn't change it for no one. I would, if I had to make a choice between finding the number one love in my life or doing comedy, I'd pick comedy every time.
I concur. And uh, who were some other icons you grew up just watching where you're just like, I got to do that. I want what they got. I want.
Well, I never thought I could. That was the thing. That's the weird thing. So like I grew up because of the Christian household, right? I grew up like watching like Jerry Lewis, Three Stooges, Dean Martin, Bob Hope, like
Oh,
all the old black and white shit, right?
mm-hmm.
And then when I got older, my uncle had took me to go see Mortal Kombat with my cousin, right? Live.
Like,
And it
got
was
your love
live.
of guys movies now.
Yeah, in Houston, right? But it was live. It was like a live play, right?
Oh,
And then
a live show of Mortal Kombat.
yeah,
Nice.
live show. Yeah. So then we went back to the house and he played me Martin Lawrence, You're So Crazy. I saw that was the first special I ever seen in my life, right? And I saw it and oh my God, I was laughing my ass off. And I didn't even know people could talk like that. I was like, they're not gonna put him in jail? Like you can talk like that? Like for real? Then he put a Mexican guy on. I don't remember that guy's name. Then he put
We're sorry, dude, whoever you were. Yeah.
yeah. He put like he and then I just told him, then he put Eddie Murphy and then Richard Pryor.
So
And
your
then
uncle was kind of going about your dad's back and allowing you to see a lot of just popular comedians.
well, it was just that night, right? And I fell in love with all of it, right?
That's the
And
night that
then
changed you.
yeah, I was 13 years old. And then after that, I fell in love with Chris Rock because Chris Rock was just like the biggest thing that ever happened to like
Oh
the
yeah,
comedy world, period, right? At that time, like late 90s to like early 2000s,
yeah,
right?
it was great.
So
Yeah,
I couldn't wait. I was waiting every 2 years, every 3 years. When's the next DVD? When is it coming out? Can't wait to get it, right? But I was also watching other comedians as well. And then I never thought in my life, you see, I was a businessman. I was a producer. I ran dental companies. I ran restaurants. That's what I did. I was just a business guy.
did you
And then,
go to business school before that, or just learn some
no,
tricks
I,
from
I
some
went to
friends?
business school recently. I graduated from Baylor. But anyway, so, but as a young man, I just always just been business intuitive, and people always gave me opportunity. I knew how to just, like I said, I used to
Invest and
swing for the fences for everything, right?
mm-hmm.
Even the girls I asked to marry me, they always say no, but I'm still swinging for the fences,
Worth
So,
a try, man. You might as well just have that. No regrets. Hey, I asked her. It's on
hey,
her, not me.
you never know. You gotta swing for the fences, man. So like, so then anyway, um, I remember this one time I was with, at the time I was gonna get married to this one woman. She had my kid, and I bought us a house. and we're inside the kit. Well, I was inside the kitchen. My son was inside the living room, and we were watching. I forgot what movie it was, but it was we were watching the special features, and one of the actors, I forget his name. He goes,
"Oh yeah, that guy." No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
"What's the? He's the
What movie?
I was Wanted. You remember Wanted, the black guy?
Common, the rapper.
No, the old one.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, yeah.
Shoot
So
this
Morgan
motherfucker.
Freeman says this. Morgan Freeman says this in the like on the special features, right? Yep. He goes. I try to be an actor all my life, and I was never successful. He goes, the minute I stopped trying to be an actor and just became an actor and quit everything, that's when I became successful. I was in the kitchen washing dishes when I heard that shit. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? Right? 2 or 3 years later, I go on stage. No one would put me on. I was producing comedy for like 7 years, right? And I had a few comics under me. But every time I asked them, they would never, ever, ever give me no opportunity, right? Everyone was just being a dick.
What venues were you at? Is it?
So I was like, you know what? Well, fuck you guys. I'm going to put my own comedy show together. I'm the one that produces you guys. I have the power to do it. I'm going to do it. So
you're going to take away all your roster and say, don't go there.
So I went to the House of Blues. I talked to them. They said yes. I brought some burlesque girls. I brought some other comics. And I went up there. I did 5 to 7 minutes. I got off stage and I told my business partner, her name's Victoria, and I said, I'm never going to do nothing else in my life but this. This is it.
Oh, wow.
I found it. I finally found it.
That was around early 2010s.
And it was like about 5 years ago, 2017, September 2017.
That was a big year. A lot of local productions nationwide taking off.
Yeah. And I remember telling her that. She goes, what? And I was like, yeah. I said, this is it. This is all I want to do. I'm going to quit everything else. I'm going to quit the tax business. I'm quitting the restaurants. I'm quitting everything. This is what I'm going to do.
Did you sell those off, or did you just file Chapter 11 on most of them? Or?
No, you sell them. You know,
right. Nice.
You dissolve the companies and stuff. And I mean, it's a long process. But then, you know, I was on my way to prison either way. And then when I went to prison, that's when all the interesting shit happened. Because that's when I met Steven Rosenfeld. Do you know who Steven Rosenfeld is?
Why does that sound familiar?
Steven Rosenfeld. So Steven Rosenfeld, he wrote the book. It's called Mastering Stand-Up Comedy, right? And Steven Rosenfeld started the first comedy institution in America in like 1983 or 1987, somewhere around that time, right? Oh, wow. He was a great playwright on Broadway, right? Mm-hmm. Graduated from Stanford University, all that shit. But then he just fell in love with comedy. This guy helped everyone from Richard Pryor to fucking Jim Gaffigan left. Jim Gaffigan left his company to go study with Steve Rosenfeld for a whole year. So anyway, I found out that he wrote a book. So then I bought the book in prison, and then I chose to write him. And then he writes me back.
That's great.
Like I just did it out of just like, there's no way he's gonna write me back. But I mean, I'm in prison. What else is gonna happen,
and they
right?
Put you in jail for something so dumb, just traffic tickets.
What did I say earlier? You got to swing for the fences, right? So I was like, fuck it. So I wrote him and I sent him an interview that I was in the Dallas Observer before I got locked up. So I sent him an interview so that way he knew I was a legit comedian. And then I wrote him. I told him exactly why I was in there. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I just need some guidance. Send me a brochure. Send me something, right? He writes kind of feedback. Yeah. Something, right? He writes me back, and then he's just like, how can I help? I was like, what do you mean, how can you help? He goes, can you do comedy in prison? I was like, I'm pretty sure we have a chapel. They got a PA system. I'm pretty sure I can put some things together. So he writes, he goes, send me the name of the warden, send me the name of the chaplain. I'm going to write them. I'm going to get you on stage. And then I started comedy classes in there with other guys. And we started doing comedy every week. That's how it happened, bro. I came out with 20 fucking minutes.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so, again, you've been on all sides of the spectrum. You've seen how rough life is. You've seen just how fortunate you are otherwise. What were some other ways that you just kind of just got up in the morning and said, okay, today I'm going to take 40 minutes to try out some comedy, perform it, and then I'm going to test it with some friends? What was your process?
Well, my process was when I first started, the name George Red Speaks. The only reason why I go by George Red Speaks, I don't go by my real name. My name is George Rojas.
Yes.
That means red, but plural. But I didn't want to say reds. Red with two D's just sound better. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Plus, I like big titties, like I said earlier. Right. Well, see, the thing was I was on the run because I had to dissolve all these companies and I knew I had to go to prison, right? So I was on the run for like a year. Right. So the way they wouldn't find me, because they look online, right? If I change my name to George Red Speaks, then they're not looking for George Rojas. I mean, they're looking for George Rojas. They're not looking for me. So the name just stuck. I started a podcast. And every time I would say something funny, I'd write it down. Every time someone laughed. I still do this to this day. And then that's when I put the show together. And then when I fell in love with it at night, I would perform every night I could. Sometimes, 6, 7, 8 days, a week, like wherever there was an open mic. I didn't even know open mics existed until after I did my show. And then my friend Jamie Gravy, he was on tour with Eddie Griffin.
Oh, wow.
And Jamie told me he's my best friend in comedy. And Jamie, he goes by Jamie Gravitt now, but he used to go by Jamie Gravy. And then Jamie told me, he goes, why don't you come to my open mic? I was like, what's an open mic? I didn't know what that was. He was just like, I have it every Monday. It's in Louisville. You get to try new stuff out before you do your shows. Come out there and I'll put you on with other people. And then that's what happened. And then, that's been my life ever since, dog. I've never stopped.
I'm glad you had that opportunity to just kind of keep going. And what were some other ways that you were just kind of able to just soak in all this knowledge while also just kind of just realizing, hey, got to keep going. Don't slow down. Don't get too comfortable.
Yeah. Well, you can never be complacent. That's for sure. In anything that you do.
Right.
Yeah. You always got to be moving because once you stop moving, you die.
Exactly.
So whatever you fall in love with, right? Not everyone gets the chance to find something that they fall in love with. Like when I did radio, I was like, all right, I made it. I'm doing radio. I'm on the radio. Right. And then I didn't like it. And I was like, what's next? TV. I'm gonna do TV. So I did TV and I thought that was it. And then I didn't like that either. And then I did the restaurants and then I did the bars and the clubs and all that shit, right? And I still didn't like it. I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can I not find a passion? And then when I did comedy, I knew I had found my passion and that was it. And whenever you find your passion, man, it doesn't matter who you are. You got to go for it. 100%.
Lock and load.
That's it.
And no, that's a good point. That's a very deep point. That's something that's gonna especially come up quite a lot on involving just any kind of entertainment. It's just very easy to get bored, especially if you're being underutilized or something's just not all that like it appeared. What other methods can people use to just kind of make sure everything is fresh and new and challenging versus, you know, just to avoid, having something that's just dull?
My opinion, this is only an opinion, okay? My opinion is if you're not passionate enough where it isn't hot, then you don't belong there. Like you gotta have it has to be like a fire under your ass, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And if you don't feel that fire all the time, or you're not willing to get up out of bed and do it every single day, then it's not for you. That's it.
Oh, that's
I
good.
mean, I don't want to discourage anybody, you know, but at the same time, if you're not lit up for it, then it's like being in a good relationship. I mean, I think we've all had different relationships, right? There's the nice ones, they're kind of boring, but they're consistent, whatever. But then you have those ones that just fire you up sometimes, and you just can't wait to just put your hands on them, right? And let them put their
Yeah.
hands on you. It's the same thing with whatever career you choose to do. You got to get up every morning, and it has to be your number one goal. You never lose your North Star.
Bingo. Yeah. Never,
Yeah.
never
So,
slouch.
like back in the day, captains used to look at the North Star, and the North Star would let them know where they were in the world. That's how they would find their way home.
Hmm.
Because even if they felt lost in a storm, they would look at the North Star and they would know where their position was, right? So your vision and your passion has to be your North Star, no matter where I'm at in life, no matter what's happening to me, no matter what personal things I'm going through. When I look at my vision, that's my North Star. I know exactly what I need to do. I made a commitment, a quality decision that I'm going to be successful at this one thing. And I'm not going to stop until I'm dead. That's it.
Very
There's
nice.
not, there's nothing else.
Well,
That might
and
sound,
well, no, sorry, go ahead.
no, I just said that might sound crazy, but I just think you just need that type of determination to be successful. I think so. It's only my opinion, though.
No, I mean, it is very relevant to, because at the end of the day, it does become, hey, I love what I do, and it's a business, and both sides of the pedestal gotta even out.
Yeah.
So, well, what are some for local towns here? What are some venues you highly recommend that will give just about everyone a good shot? There's Hyenas, there's the Improvs in both Arlington and Addison. There's a bunch of others. What are some that you recommend highly?
What I recommend highly is our Monday open mics at Comedy Arena. The thing about Comedy Arena, it's so different from all your other clubs because Vaughn and Jared genuinely love comedy, right? And they genuinely um, invest their time into you to be better, right?
Hmm.
They actually give you shots, they actually give you features, they actually put you on shows, right?
Yes.
Um, Places like Hyenas, I started at Hyenas. I like Randy. Randy's a nice guy and all that stuff, but it's just very political. You're going to have to just dodge, and there's just so much just to even get a shot there, right? The Improv, um, I've always been treated well at the Improv. Sean Trainer used to run it in Addison. I think Will runs it in Arlington. That was one of my first clubs I ever went to. I have a great relationship with them. But at the same time, you really got to get to a certain status to perform there, but they do have a nice open mic on Sundays. But going back, I would say Comedy Arena and then TK's. TK is a comic. He's from Texas. He moved back from LA. Him and his wife, Kara with a K. That's how she says her name. Uh, She was on like America's Got Talent, all that. So I mean, that's pretty big names. They know all the major guys. He used to help run the Hollywood improv out there. But now he has his own club. It's in Addison. It's called TK's. So they have Wednesday nights. Their open mic is good. And then like tonight, Will Call and Deep Ellum. I have a good mic out there too. So like I think what people need to do, like if you want to be a comedian, you want to get like into the industry, is first building your network, getting out there, getting seen, doing the work. No one's
Mm-hmm.
going to respect you unless you're writing. We all write, we all fail. One thing about comedy, it's all about trial and error, right? So we go up there, we fail a million times before we find out what's funny.
Right.
Then we take that and we put that in our set once we get it right, you know? But like building your network and having a strong network and having a good reputation. I think having a good reputation is the best. Like you can't burn bridges because of your ego. You have to leave your ego at the door, at your house.
Exactly.
Burn that motherfucker. Don't even have one,
Right.
because you're not good. I'm not good. I'm only good when I'm good and I'm bad when I'm bad. And I'm going to keep writing and get better and better and better. And then you want to help the people around you. You never want to step on no one's feet or step on no one's toes. You don't want to cross anyone because this is a small world.
There are a lot of cutthroats out there and you want to avoid them.
And they'll never make it. Those cutthroats, they'll never make it.
I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying they'll just make life harder for everybody,
Yeah, everyone wants to be a gatekeeper. Fuck gatekeepers, man.
Yep.
The people that are going to be successful are the people that help each other up.
Totally. I'm an indie filmmaker and I decided, you know what? I'm going to take a break right now because currently DFW kind of sucks in terms of film. So got to wait it out, find the ones who are serious to kind of emerge, and then do business with them,
One thing that I've always noticed, like I'm always trying to like read or trying to follow up on people that are successful. When you look at people like Adam Sandler, right? Or you look at people like Seth Rogen, or you look at people like Joe Rogan, right? You see that they all have a crew.
They have a giant bunch of producers and teleprompters and researchers, even.
Yeah, and they all do projects together, right? And that's what you want to build. You want to build people you can trust, right? People that are talented, people that aren't going to fuck you over or their egos aren't going to get in the way.
Correct.
And that's how you build, I think. That's why I have Comedy Junkie Society. I got 48 comics that I fuck with like hardcore. I put them on even when I'm not on the show. I put them on. Yeah. You keep people working and the loyalty stays.
At least for
I'm
now.
good. Yeah. I'm good at two things. I'm good at performing and I'm good at producing. So if I'm producing, I'm putting everyone else on. If I'm performing, I'm doing my thing.
Very nice. Altogether, so you've given so many helpful tips on networking and standing out and, friends close, enemies closer. What are some, are you thinking of trying to go national?
I'm already national. Yeah, I just did New York. I did Santa Ana. I did LA. I did Arizona. I did Oklahoma. I'm all over Texas. I'm already national. So.
Okay, very cool. Any other future ambitions that you just want to have come true one way or the other?
I just want to be a good comic. That's it. That's my main focus in life. And everything else that I want to do will follow after that. But if I have my main vision, then there's 100% concentration on that one goal, then everything else will follow with it,
Very cool.
I mean, I love acting. I love production. I've been in multiple music videos, multiple TV shows and stuff like that. I write all the time, but I think my main focus is concentrating on comedy and being the best comic that I can be for the people that buy tickets to come see me. Right. So if I'm selling 300 tickets, right, those people are coming to see me headline. So I have a responsibility to them to give them the best show for whatever they paid for. You know what I'm saying? So that's my primary goal.
Very nice. Very nice. Uh, Now, I always got to ask every comic this. So five, you mentioned some great stand up, but what are some five essential ones like everyone should watch, regardless of whether they're trying to get into comedy writing and stand up or not? Like, what are some five that everyone who has any sense of humor should essentially watch?
You mean top 5 comics?
Hey, you can do that, or just stand up specials that like must sees, like comedy gold.
All right. I think, and contrary to what the controversial things are, I think Louis C.K. is one of the best writers ever. David Chappelle, of course, right? Bill Burr, of course. Dave Attell, of course. Joe Rogan, of course. Um, um, oh my God, are you still there?
Yeah, yeah.
Tony Hinchcliffe, definitely. There's a new comic that's coming out of Dallas that is a friend of mine and very, very, very funny. And he's one of the best writers I've ever met in my life. His name is Ralph Balbosa. You got to see this guy. This guy is going to be a star. There's a girl named Liz Splat, Jamie Gravitt.
Nice.
Yeah, these are people that you really want to follow because they have a writing style. It isn't just performing. Like their writing is so calculated. It's so smart, right? Where you can't help. But when someone can stand up there without like going like being too animated and just say a couple of lines and then make the whole crowd laugh, that's a writer.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like me, I'm more of a performer. I write good, but also I'm very animated. But when you have someone that's so deadpan, right? And then they say something and then the crowd goes berserk, you're like, well, that's just good writing. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't really a good performance, you know?
Yeah. We've had our share of people who can do all kinds of funny things, but they're limited, unfortunately, when it comes to like actually writing their gags. That there's so many other people who got into just unnecessary, just like lawsuits because they were, instead of like taking a joke and being inspired by it, they were literally like still in every part of their act. But then people also, I think, have come, like you say. I mean, you mentioned Hinchcliffe. That's a good example of someone. I forget who Dave Chappelle's writer was. Paul Mooney also wrote some key segments for Richard Pryor before doing his thing. So I mean, there's so many people who work so well together.
Chappelle writes his own shit.
Well, yes, he writes his own thing, but I'm just trying to remember the guy who was like doing a lot of key bits on his show.
Yeah. Paul Mooney was there. Paul Mooney was a big writer for Richard Pryor. And then like Kevin Hart has a lot of writers for him, but he also works on some of his own shit too. But like Chappelle is like probably one of the purest comics, you know. He'll do it anywhere.
Right.
Just spend hours.
Can't tell anyone to not do anything at this point.
Yeah. But I think, me personally, I think top guy right now, Bill Burr. I don't think no one has anything on him. I don't even think Chappelle has anything on Bill Burr, to tell you the truth. A lot of people.
Yeah, Neil Brennan is who I was thinking of. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
His whole style is so different and so himself. It's just, yeah, he got it. He got it.
Well,
I could only imagine if I ever get to a point like that.
Yeah, at this point, everybody's got to just do their own thing and just keep striving.
Yeah.
So this has been a delight having you on here. Just any other final things before we go?
No, just y'all can follow me. All my handles are the same. George Red Speaks. That's Red with 2 D's like big titties. And it could be Instagram, it could be TikTok, it could be Facebook, whatever it is. You type in those, it's the same thing, so it's not too confusing for nobody. Look at my agenda, my calendar. I'm always working everywhere. I'm all over the place. And I really do appreciate you for having me on your on your podcast. And I just want to be a funny guy. That's it.
You know it, my dude. You know it.
We'll return after these messages.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
We let things pile up in the DVR, we add them to our queues, we wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters Podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US, we are in the UK, we are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up